It has been 22 years since audiences around the world first met Captain Jack Sparrow. In the summer of 2003, when Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl hit theaters, no one expected it to become a cultural phenomenon. And no one could have predicted that a single eccentric pirate brought to life by Johnny Depp would sail straight into cinema history. He was unpredictable, witty, outrageous, and yet strangely endearing. He wasn't just another character. In a Disney film, he became a legend. For 2 decades, Jack Sparrow has remained one of the most recognizable faces in modern cinema. His walk, his voice, the tilt of his head, even the way he held his compass, fans know it instantly. That kind of recognition is rare. It's the mark of a character who transcends the screen, someone who no longer feels like a role played by an actor, but a living figure who somehow exists in our collective imagination. And that is all thanks to Johnny Depp, who didn't just play a pirate, he reinvented what a pirate could be. Now, 22 years later, Captain Jack Sparrow is setting sail again. Not in a brand new film, but in a way that allows fans to hold onto the magic themselves. A new collectible has arrived, and it's already stirring excitement among those who have followed this character since the very beginning. It is a way of honoring the past while giving fans something tangible they can build, display, and treasure for years to come. This year, LEGO has unveiled its largest and most detailed Pirates of the Caribbean set yet, the Icon's Captain, Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. With nearly 3,000 pieces and 8 minifigures, including Jack Sparrow himself, it is more than just another LEGO release. It is a tribute to the legacy of Johnny Depp's most iconic role. When fans see the sails, the cannons, and Jack himself standing proudly at the wheel, it is impossible not to think back to those unforgettable scenes that defined an era of adventure. Films. The set is a masterpiece of design. Its black sails look as though they've already weathered storms. Its cannons slide into position, ready for battle. The deck opens up to reveal Jack's captain's quarters, filled with tiny details that capture the spirit of the films. Even the steering wheel connects to the rudder, allowing fans to guide the ship as if Jack himself were calling out, "Bring me that horizon!" This isn't simply a model. It is a love letter to the fans who never stopped believing in the magic of the character. And of course, Jack Sparrow is front and center. His minifigure captures the eccentric style and swagger that made him famous. It's small in size, but instantly recognizable, reminding us that even 22 years later, his legend hasn't faded. Alongside him stand Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann, Barbossa, and other fan favorites, making it feel less like a collectible and more like a reunion. For longtime fans, this release is more than just about bricks and plastic. It's about Johnny Depp's contribution to cinema. Before 2003, pirate films had largely been forgotten. Studios avoided them, believing audiences no longer cared for swashbuckling tales. But Depp's performance changed everything. With his sly humor, unpredictable choices, and that now iconic slurred speech, he transformed the genre overnight. He took a ride from Disneyland and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Without Jack Sparrow, without Johnny Depp, there would be no modern Pirates of the Caribbean. That's why this collectible matters. It's not only about the ship, it's about who captains it. And fans know that without Johnny Depp, the Black Pearl is just wood and sails. With him, it becomes legend. This set gives fans a chance to rebuild that legend at home, to feel in some small way like they are setting sail with Captain Jack Sparrow once again. The release comes at a time when fans have been yearning for Jack's return. Rumors of new films have circulated for years, but nothing has yet materialized. In the absence of new adventures on screen, collectibles like this become even more important. They are reminders that the story isn't over, that Jack Sparrow still sails the seas of our imagination, and that Johnny Depp's most famous role remains alive through the things we build, display, and share. For many, this set will be more than decoration. It will be a centerpiece, a conversation starter, and a memory. Guests who see it will instantly recognize it, pointing out Jack at the helm, recalling their favorite moments from the films, and reliving the excitement of watching Depp bring the character to life for the very first time. 22 years is a long time. In cinema, it can feel like an eternity. Entire genres come and go. Stars rise and fade. Franchises are born, thrive, and then disappear. But every once in a while, something extraordinary happens. A character comes along who refuses to vanish. A legend emerges who feels timeless, as if no matter how many years pass, their presence remains as strong as ever. Captain Jack Sparrow is one of those rare figures. When Johnny Depp first stumbled onto the screen in 2003, mumbling through his words, tilting his head, and swaying as though the ocean itself lived inside his bones, audiences weren't quite sure what to make of him. Was he drunk? Was he clever? Was he even the hero? Within minutes, it didn't matter, because Jack Sparrow was unforgettable. And over the course of 2 hours, Depp transformed what could have been a one-dimensional pirate into a figure of myth. 22 years later, that magic hasn't faded. Jack Sparrow lives on, not only in the films themselves, but in the way fans remember him, quote him, dress as him, and celebrate him. He's the kind of character who jumps off the screen and plants himself in culture permanently. He became more than a role, he became a legend. And now, decades after his debut, fans are setting sail with him again. Not in a brand new blockbuster, not on the silver screen, but in a way that is every bit as meaningful. A new collectible has arrived, and it brings with it not just a ship, not just a model, but the spirit of Captain Jack Sparrow himself. This collectible, released by LEGO, is a painstaking recreation of Jack Sparrow's ship, the vessel that carried him through curses, battles, betrayals, and victories. With nearly 3,000 pieces, it is a build that asks for patience and rewards with grandeur. When complete, it isn't just a ship sitting on a shelf. It is the Black Pearl. It is the horizon itself, frozen in brick and sail, waiting to remind you why you fell in love with Jack Sparrow in the first place. But more than the plastic, more than the bricks, what truly makes this collectible special is what it represents. For fans, it is a chance to bring Johnny Depp's most iconic creation back to life. Each piece is like a memory. Each detail, the wheel, the cannons, the sails, is a doorway back into the films, back into the moments where Jack tricked his enemies, outsmarted impossible odds, and laughed at danger with that sly, crooked smile. Characters like Jack Sparrow don't come around often. He wasn't written to be perfect. He wasn't noble, he wasn't clean-cut, and he wasn't predictable. He was messy, flawed, greedy, and selfish. But he was also brave, funny, clever, and strangely loyal. He reminded audiences that heroes don't have to fit the mold. They can stumble, slur, and stagger their way into greatness. And that's why fans loved him. He was real in ways other heroes weren't. This new collectible is a reminder of all of that. It's not just a toy, it's a tribute, a way for fans to keep Jack alive in their homes, to place him proudly on display as proof that some characters simply cannot be forgotten. You don't just build a ship, you rebuild a memory, you reconstruct a legend, and in doing so, you become part of the legacy yourself. Imagine the process of putting it together. At first, it's just bricks in a box, but slowly, as you build, the Black Pearl begins to rise, the hull takes shape, the masts stretch upward, the sails unfurl in their black glory, the cannons slide into place. And then finally, Jack himself appears at the wheel, ready to lead once more. The experience is more than assembly. It's a voyage of its own, a journey across time, back to 2003, when the world first met the pirate who would redefine adventure. Cinema, and when the ship is complete, it doesn't just sit silently, it speaks, not with words but with presence. Guests who see it won't mistake it for just any ship. They'll know instantly that it's the Black Pearl. They'll see Jack, Elizabeth, Will, and Barbossa, and they'll remember the scenes that made them laugh, gasp, and cheer. It becomes a conversation piece, a spark of nostalgia, and for some, a symbol of their youth. 22 years is a long time, but the power of stories is that they can stretch across decades and remain as fresh as ever. Jack Sparrow's story is one of those. The Black Pearl isn't just a ship, it's a time capsule. And this collectible is your chance to hold that capsule in your hands, to set it proudly on display, and to say, "The legend still sails." Johnny Depp's creation changed the way audiences thought about pirates. Before him, the genre was all but forgotten, a relic of old Hollywood, but his performance brought pirates roaring back to life, not as villains or caricatures, but as complex, layered figures with humor, humanity, and heart. And while the films may not currently be sailing into theaters, this collectible proves the legend is far from over. Because Captain Jack Sparrow is more than a role. He is freedom personified. He is mischief wrapped in charm. He is the reminder that life isn't meant to be lived by the rules of others, but by your own compass, even if it doesn't always. Point north. That spirit lives on in every brick of this set. It lives on in the way fans smile when they see it. It lives on in the way Jack's lines are still quoted 2 decades later. So when you place this ship in your home, you're not just decorating a shelf, you're bringing that spirit into your life. You're choosing to believe, once again, in the power of adventure, in the thrill of the unknown, in the joy of stories that never really end. Some characters age with time, fading into obscurity. But not Jack Sparrow. He lives on through the films, through the fans, and now through this collectible. He is proof that legends never die. They simply take on new forms, waiting for us to rediscover them again and again. So set your sails, gather your crew, clear a space in your collection, because this is not just another model. It is a voyage. A chance to sail again 22 years later with the captain who changed cinema forever. Bring me that horizon. The Black Pearl is waiting.